Hello, I'm Jeff Paur, senior writer with RealTime Fantasy Sports, and welcome to the RealTime Fantasy Sports Show. On today's show, I'm going to give you 5 of my fantasy football takeaways for week 2 of the fantasy football season. I'm going to start doing this every week. This is a new video I'm going to release on Mondays to let you know 5 of the things that caught my eye during the last week of games. All right, let's kick it off. My first takeaway from week 2 is I'm targeting the Cowboys defense when I'm setting my fantasy lineups. That defense is absolutely brutal. They got torched by the Giants last week. They have no pass rush without Micah Parsons there. The secondary is not good. Diggs was getting burnt all over the field yesterday. Russell Wilson threw for more than 400 yards against them. This defense is just not good, and I think it's going to be an issue all season long, a lot of high-scoring games. So it's good news if you have Cowboys offensive players, but it's also good news if your offensive players are playing the Cowboys defense. In the next 3 games against the Cowboys, just to let you know, the Bears, Packers, and Giants. So giddy up if you have any of those fantasy players on your teams going up against the Cowboys the next 3 games. All right, my next takeaway for week 2 is the demise of the Lions offense might have been a little premature. A lot of people thought this Lions offense was not going to be nearly as good as it has been in the past few years with all the departures along the coaching staff. Offensive line has issues, but man, this offense looked absolutely outstanding last week against the Bears. Looked like the team from last year. 2 players, Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, both top 37 fantasy points in the game. They poured it on the Bears. They did not let up all game either. They even ran up the score later in the game, which you love to see from a fantasy perspective. So if you're worried about this Lions offense, I might not be so worried anymore. It looks like they're starting to come together, have things figured out. New offensive coordinator, Johnny Morton, could be figuring things out as well, what works for him. So I'm excited about this Lions offense now, especially after a so-so showing in week 1. My next takeaway from week 2 is Daniel Jones just might be legit. Hard to believe I would ever say those words, but man, he has looked absolutely outstanding in the first 2 games. Might be my biggest surprise of anything that's happened so far this season. He had 26 fantasy points against the Broncos this past week. I think the Broncos might have the best defense in all of football. He moved the ball well against them, made plays, made good decisions, didn't turn the ball over. He has 5 touchdowns without a turnover in 2 games, at least 26 fantasy points each of those 2 games. He uses his legs well. He also has been making good decisions with the football, taking advantage of some talent at receiver in Indianapolis. He has a good offensive line, a running game that can help take the pressure off him. So I'm not sure if Daniel Jones is going to be a top 5 quarterback all season long, but I think he could actually push that top 10 potential if he keeps playing the way he has. He has just looked absolutely outstanding. If he's on your waiver wire, go grab him if you're looking for some quarterback help. My 4th takeaway for this past week is Cam Skattebo might be taking over the Giants' backfield. He played more snaps than Tyrone Tracy this past week. 35 to 28 was the snap count between those 2 guys. So he played 7 more snaps. He looked better in the backfield, made some plays between the tackles. Tracy is still going to be involved in this offense. He's going to be the top pass catching back for this team, but I think a change in the guard could actually be happening. I didn't think that might happen this year, but it looks like the Giants are going to give Skattebo a run as their number 1 back. So just plan accordingly going forward. Skattebo could be a fantasy difference maker the next several weeks. All right, my last takeaway, I'm going to end on a little bit of a sour note. And I'm worried about several quarterbacks that I thought would take a leap forward this year. These guys include Caleb Williams, Bryce Young, Trevor Lawrence, and J.J. McCarthy. I really thought all 4 of those guys, I know McCarthy was never a starter, but I thought all 4 of them could be really big-time fantasy quarterbacks this year, but I'm not sure any of them are going to be. Williams still makes just crazy decisions. He just looks lost at times. He runs around way far behind the line of scrimmage, tries to make too many big plays when they're not there. Bryce Young just looks indecisive at times. He takes too many sacks. Trevor Lawrence just still can be inaccurate. He got into it with Liam Cohen on the sidelines, kind of waved him off when Cohen was upset with him on missing on a throw. And then J.J. McCarthy, he just looks a little bit overwhelmed. He's played 7 really bad quarters and 1 good quarter. McCarthy could be the guy that I think could get it going at some point if he can, just start to play with more confidence. But I'm worried about all 4 of them. I don't think there are any guys I can trust right now in my fantasy lineup. Hopefully they prove me wrong going forward, but I just don't know if any 4 of these guys are going to take big step forwards this year and help fantasy teams. All right, those are 5 of my fantasy takeaways for week 2 of the fantasy football season. Hopefully you had a lot of success this week, won your games, you're sitting atop your standings, and having a good start to your year. This has been Jeff Paur for RealTime Fantasy Sports. Have a great day.